Hey guys, so we're back. We're going to be looking at Exxon Mobile this time. This is another one of our value stocks, so I'm just going to pull that up real quick. So we're down here in this value area, and we can just plug in the date real quick. So this one, if we go back to their chart, this one is like it's the most unique one we have so far in the fact that it's clearly on an uptrend, and it's been that way, I guess, since late 2020. And so the reason why I say this one is, or I guess I'm not sure if I said it, but uh, this would be like a dream scenario or a worst case scenario. And I say that because, you know, what we've been doing with a lot of the other stocks is it seems like they're fixed in like a range right now. And I'm sure a lot of these stocks, such as AMD and Nvidia, that there's a high probability that they will, at some point, break through our current uh, sell points and all-time highs. It's just right now that's not kind of what they're doing. They're not in the growth or downtrend phase right now. They're like stuck in this range. But this one, you know, they're clearly in an uptrend. They've been in that for about 2 years, and so to mark this one out, uh, it's not going to be as cut and dry. So for this one, I think what we're going to do is just first off, let's just draw on a trend line, just to see what's going on. And all I did was take the lowest point back in 2020 and draw it up to where we are right now. And you can just see it's very locked in on that uptrend. I would say more times it's above that uptrend than below. And so if we just kind of continue with this, I'm just going to lock in on this high. Whoops, I chose the wrong line here. Let's see how this plays out if I draw in this type of sell line, if that kind of plays out as expected. And it does seem to, for the most part. So if we just lock in like right here, that would be like our sell moments. That seems to be the fair market value, or at least if that's what we're saying is fair market, uh, without doing too much research, of course. And then if we were to lock in, say, like these low points, how does that play out? So the low points, if we drag that up, and I guess I could maybe bump this one down a touch. No, that seems about right. And then this one would be like our buy point. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And yeah, this one's very different. So now what I want to do is just kind of give a hypothetical on what I would have said in terms of like a buy point, just to see how it plays out. We're just messing around. Let's put one up here at this high. So that's the high and low. So we have from about 118 all the way down to 26. If I were to put in a horizontal type of um, a sell line, let's put in down here a buy line, and then we'll add one more just to have it, a fair market line. So I'm hoping this doesn't get too complicated for my eyes and everyone else's, but uh, I guess a good like sell point, or I'm sorry, a buy point, like it's rough because I guess here is like the most recent type of lows around like 48. Now, obviously, like the way this one's going and trending, it's just it. I can't imagine when it would ever come back down to 48. Will it one day? Possibly, but yeah, that would be the ultimate buy point is 48. And so obviously we can't really stick to that right now. A good like sell point, once again, it's so you can't really go off of these horizontal type of trend lines just because it's clearly in its growth stage. So it's just slicing through all these lines. It might hang out in a range for a little bit, but then as soon as it gets above it, it seems to be hanging out with it. So if we just, I'm gonna say right around here at about 100, it seemed to kind of top out. It hovered and then it came back. Only the second time around, it went above, and now it seems to be acting as like a resistance line. And then this middle type of fair value mark that I've been using, once again, there's not much. Like, I could argue this is a point, and this is another one where I'd put in a 6 line where, like, maybe here ish, somewhere in like the 80s. I just feel like this isn't the type to use that type of system with the horizontals right now. So we'll just have to see how this one plays out. Um, I'd be interested in knowing what other people's thoughts on this one is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove our horizontal lines because I don't feel like it's going to help much at this point. Um, we'll keep in our trend lines because that's what it's doing. We'll even expand a little bit just so I can kind of project into the future for another couple months. That way, when we check back in a week or who knows when, we can just kind of see where it is in terms of that type of trend line. And then we'll drag this one out a good ways. Can I go down? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's like the peak. I can't go above that. So this will take us out to about June of 2023, and depending on how it kind of plays out. So I guess right now, just based off these trend lines, uh, once again, it's kind of tricky to look at, but so what we're going to do is we will add back in some horizontal lines. And so right now, a fair value today would be about 110. And I mean, that makes sense because we dragged our low point in late 20 all the way up to today's price. So obviously that's going to be the fair value. Uh, in terms of a buy point, it looks like at least, oh, didn't mean to change that color. That's meant to be blue. And then if we add in a horizontal line for a green, just to help me. So like green today would be uh, about at 97. And then we'll add in one more line for the red for that sell moment. And once again, yeah, I probably won't make a move on this one like anytime soon just because I just don't know enough about it to understand it. But so what I tried to do here is create this like an x-axis or just an intersection point. So like today, um, the sell point today, hmm, I mean, I guess that's right. Like, we'll kind of see how it plays out. Like, basically, what I'm trying to do is like turn it mentally to kind of see, like, whenever we look at what we're calling a fair value, like you can see as it was climbing, it would bump its head on it. So it was like a little bit of resistance once. and then kind of here it did it twice, and then so it kind of hit that fair value range twice, and then in terms of like support, we have it one time here for a good while, but again, it was consistently growing, but on that trend line. So it was acting as a support one time for a good stretch from like the second month of 22 to about the 6th month. So like 4 months where it acted as a support line. And then as we keep climbing, it kind of hung out in that range for a good period, like 2 month period in 22, about month 8 to 9, and then again it acted as support. And so right now it's at kind of that support line again. And so I guess if you think it's gonna keep climbing and keep bouncing up, now it would make sense to get it. Uh, let me just kind of spill out my spreadsheet here a little bit. So it's currently at 110 roughly. I guess a buy point. The buy point in the moment would be like 97. Oh, 97. And then the sell point would be about 121. Now, what's difficult again with this one is, if we check back in a week, there'll be a new bar, and that bar will be about, I guess maybe we should approach it that way. So like right now I set up those intersections at 224. I mean, today's 225, but yesterday was Friday, so that's when that our last bar was set at 224. So if we just bump this down to 3.3, I'll even go up to, let's go to 310 just to kind of can I do a vertical? Oh, this is even better. Okay, so a vertical line, I'm going to drop this in at 310, and we'll make this one purple just because it's different. So I guess if I'm looking at this in advance, what I'm thinking would be a good time to buy would be around 98. The fair value of this would be around 111-ish, maybe about 112, we're going to say. And then the sell point going forward would be around maybe like 122. So I guess we'll look for that type of mark. So it didn't change that much in a couple weeks, maybe $1. Like if it keeps going on that trend. So, but that's what we're going to go with. So right now it's at about 110. And so that seems fair. A buy point for this one, I'm going to lock in 98, see if it can go below. And then the sell point would be about 122. And so this one, again, like, I'm not sure how I would play this one. I guess it's really like, if we do expect it to continue to grow like it is, and there's no reason why it wouldn't or shouldn't do that, this one's not really like a turnover type of trade. This one's more of as long as it continues to trend up, there's not really a bad time to buy. There's better points to buy, but if we look at, like, if it keeps trending upwards, then honestly, right now seems like a decent time to buy, because again, the thinking is it's going to keep trending up. Even if it goes a little bit lower, it should keep kind of elevating itself. So right now it's at 110, but lately the trend seems to be, well, next week it should kind of hang out in this range between about 110 and 120. And then, it might fluctuate up and down a little bit, but then all of a sudden a month or two goes by and it might hit that quote unquote low value, but that new low is now like 119. And so that's how the trend is going to kind of carry out. So I guess if I was looking at this, um, I guess I would wait, going forward, if we kind of keep these lines the same, I'd be looking for this, a red bar to come below the blue. That would be like the first time I would consider it. So right now it's at 110. If it would have been like 109 or 108, I'd be thinking about it because it would have dropped below the blue line and got close to the green. Of course, the worry is that at some point it's probably going to crash, right? You would think, most things that come up do come down, and something we'll have to take into consideration is it's kind of, it looks like you can see it, like these little bars down here. I believe that's the amount of activity that's happening, and you can see clearly over these past couple months, activity has gone down. Like, compared to back here, back in like the third, fourth, fifth month, even the sixth and seventh month of 22, there's a lot of volume here. And it seems like ever since then, it's been drying up. And so, with that in mind, I'm kind of thinking that if anything, it should drop down. And so, that's kind of the concern with something like this is, are we going to catch this one too late? So, like, because right now, one thought is, or one scenario is, hey, I bought it down here at this green line on an uptrending stock, but it doesn't bounce back up higher as anticipated. It crashes below, and then all of a sudden we get into something down, into like a more moderate range, which could fall back to like a 61. There seemed to be strong uh, resistance at around 61. That'd be like a, oh man, I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to play around with this one because I would just need to learn more. So if anyone knows more about this, please share your opinion on what you think is going to happen. How long do you think this uptrend is going to continue? I'm looking for like, I'm just trying to make sense of this in terms of like what would be a decent time to buy this one. So like right now, I'm looking for, like, you could argue that this one, I guess I'm looking for more support. So I could say this is a potential support line here at around 82. I think if it were to come crashing down, it would probably hesitate at 82, just based on a couple months here. It did drop below, but didn't wasn't there more than a week. Came back down, tested it again, didn't didn't stay there long. Came back and tested a third time, didn't want to stay there again. So I would say maybe like really long term, 82 seems to be like the new kind of low point for this stock. Uh, yeah, so I guess we'll kind of circle back on this one. I don't want to make this video too long, but that's kind of where my thought process is right now. Um, I kind of like how it's set up. Hopefully, it's not too confusing for just when I circle back. That's really my big concern. I don't want it to be too confusing. Um, yeah, I'm going to leave it here because, again, I want to keep the video somewhat shorter. Um, but yeah, I'll probably stare at this like off camera for a little bit and kind of try to make more sense of it. And but yeah, that's it. So just to summarize, at least for today, before I kind of do that, let me yeah, we'll just leave it at that for today. I'm not going to make a move on this one. So we're down here, Exxon, and yeah, I'm not going to give this one any color. I just don't think. I just don't like it at the moment. I'm just nervous that it's going to, you know, we'll buy it, and then sure enough, that's the day it starts crashing down. And so I don't want to play that game at the moment. And I also would be concerned if locking in like a sell position and then it just keeps going up higher. So I want to circle back on this one to see if we can find, is it going to start trending down, and when that happens, hopefully then we can capitalize on it. But that's where it stands today. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe, of course, and I'll see you on the next one. So